Hello everyone, this is Dawn over at Plot Chronicles. I want to share with you my 3 favorite books from the month of August. Let's get right into it. Okay, the first one, and I've mentioned it before in 2 videos, and it's by Danielle Steele, which I've read most of her books, and it's a historical fiction called Far From Home. I really did like it. I've already mentioned this in another video, so I'll keep it short. I like it because, you know, so many books we read are modern times. Nothing wrong with that, but I love a book that goes back in the, you know what I was just thinking, wouldn't it be interesting to have a I guess you could call it historical fiction book, but it goes into the future of what they think the future would be like. Now that would be interesting. I don't hear too many books like that, but this one is back from 1944, and I thought it was really good. And it was during, you know, taking place, the setting was in Germany and in France, and during when Hitler was around, all that. And it's the story of what happened to the families. You know, families got separated and all of that. I thought it was good. It wasn't too long and it wasn't too detailed, which I like. It was a short book because to me anything under 500 pages is short, and it was easy to read, great character development. It definitely kept my interest, and it just talked about the strength of the people there. People that grew up with everything, you know, with money, you know, so they had wealth and they had connections, and all of that is taken away from them, and it's how strong and resilient they are. That's what I liked about it is, you know, I'll be honest with you, I'm not someone that loves change, but imagine just overnight your life turning upside down. How are you going to handle that? Some people have the strength to handle it and be resilient and be able to pivot. Some people, it's a lot tougher. I'd probably be one of the ones that'd be tougher for. But I think it's worth it. Tell me if you guys ever read Danielle Steele. The next 2 are by the same author, Liv Constantine, The Senator's Wife, and The Last Mrs. Parrish. The reason why I like The Senator's Wife, and I've already done a review on this one, is because it had 3 twists at the end. And I had read it before, and I remembered one of the 3 twists. The other 2 twists I didn't remember. And, you know, I hadn't read the book in a few years. So when I went back to, it was actually audiobook, and listened to it, I was like surprised all over again. And the only thing with the book maybe is that it's kind of it's slower to kind of get into it, but it still kept my interest, you know, learning about what's going on. And you kind of need it to be slow so you can follow the story, and because the ending is definitely worth it. You know, to me, if a book is what I call a slow burn, or it takes a while to get into it, the ending has to be worth it. I'd rather read a book like that than a book that starts off good and then falls flat. And I've known of some authors that do that, but I'd highly recommend listening to any of Liv Constantine books. Let me know if you've read any of her books. And then the last one by her also is The Last Mrs. Parrish. Loved it. You know, you think this woman's happily married, and then she brings this lady into her life who she thinks is going to help with her foundation, and this woman wants her hooks into her husband. And so, guess what? The little happily married, and you know this by reading the review of the book, so I'm not giving away anything. Mrs. Parrish wants out of her marriage and but can't leave, and finds a way to do that very creatively, if that makes sense. And so it's kind of the story of that. Then they also have The Last Mrs. Parrish, and then there's a part 2 of this book, and there is an ending at that book, so I can't imagine there would be a part 3. But the ending of the I think it's called The Next Mrs. Parrish. The ending of that book is crazy. Let me just say that. But I highly recommend anything by Liv Constantine. I want to hear from you. What were some of your favorite reads for the month of August, and have you started a book for the month of September? Right now, I'm listening to a book called Ask Andrea, and I've never read the author, and I think if I remember, I think it's Noelle. I don't have it in front of me. I don't want to speak if I don't know. I've never read anything by this author, and so I have to say it's a very, very interesting book, but I will do a review on that once I'm finished. So, love to hear what you're reading. I want to tell everyone thank you for your support. Love you, appreciate you, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.